of Rishi Sunak's immigration policy, and its success is likely to be a key part of the fortunes of the Conservative Party going forward. And now that ruling party is in a dilemma after its Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick quit over legislation regarding sending migrants to Rwanda. Jenrick resigned after Sunak's administration published emergency legislation called the Safety of Rwanda Bill, designed to ensure that Rwanda is regarded as a safe country. This after the UK Supreme Court's verdict last month deemed that it was not the case. Jenrick wrote in his resignation letter, and I quote, "The stakes for the country are too high for us not to pursue the stronger protections required to end the merry-go-round of legal challenges which risk paralysing the scheme and negating its intended deterrent, should I say." That was seen as a reference to Sunak's refusal to take Britain out of the European Convention on Human Rights. The draft bill, which deems Rwanda a safe country and is set to be rushed through the House of Commons, bypasses some sections of the Human Rights Act. The proposed legislation would also give courts the ability to ignore any ruling from the European Court of Human Rights to block flights sending migrants back to Rwanda. Sunak has promoted the emergency law, saying it allows the deportation plan to no longer be bogged down in the courts. However, the bill stops short of what some on the Tory right were demanding. Britain's sacked Home Secretary Suella Braverman had warned PM Sunak of electoral oblivion, adding that the bill must block all routes of legal challenge to allow flights to take off. Well, we're now being joined by Nicholas Nugent, senior journalist, former BBC editor. Nicholas, thanks very much for your time this morning. Quite a messy situation now for the government. How big a blow is losing his immigration minister for Rishi Sunak? Sorry, Nicholas, I'm just struggling with the line there. I'll just ask you this question again. A massive blow for the government this morning with the loss of the immigration minister. Just how significant is that, and what happens next in this situation?
Well, yes, enormously significant, because we have a massive political row going on, and it's not between the two main political parties, it's within the governing party, the Conservative Party, and it's all about immigration, one way or another. So it is a massive blow, and at its worst, it could lead to a vote of confidence in the Prime Minister and the risk of him losing that. Now, to lose a Prime Minister when we've lost so many in the past few years would be catastrophic, frankly, and almost certainly lead to a general election sooner than we're expecting it. So it's a very big political issue for the government, not so much for the other political parties. The government have to resolve differences within the party. Suella Braverman, the former Home Secretary, is even talking about the demise of the Conservative Party. That's how significant it is. Casting them into oblivion, I think was the word she used in Parliament yesterday. But if you just take a step back, this is a political crisis for the ruling Conservative Party. It's also an immigration crisis, because if you recall, those who advocated leaving the European Union, their clarion call was take back control of our borders. And that's manifestly not happened. Our borders are not under control because of both legal immigration, people with visas, so many people coming, far more than is considered acceptable. And secondly, illegal immigration, the so-called small boats, which is what this Rwanda policy is all about. And then to take it to a third level, you could also say this is a legal crisis, because today's row is all about how the government has reacted to the Supreme Court decision blocking the plan to remove illegal immigrants, the small boat people, to Rwanda. So it's the government against the law, in a way. The government are trying to find a way around the Supreme Court ruling, and they're trying to do it by legislation. And if you believe the statement of the minister who resigned last night, the immigration minister, it just won't work. You cannot legislate against a Supreme Court ruling. So one way and another, we have a massive crisis. I could take this further, but perhaps that's enough. Three aspects of a crisis within Britain.
And Nicholas, I'm no lawyer, but obviously, just looking at in this new legislation in brief, it doesn't seem to have solved the critical issue that this is going to be dragged through the courts. And Rishi Sunak has put so much weight on getting these flights to Rwanda. From where I'm sitting, it looks very unlikely that flights are going to be able to go before a general election, given this new legislation doesn't seem to solve many of the issues that it was designed to.
Did you say very likely or very unlikely that flights will go?
Very unlikely that flights will be going to Rwanda.
Yes. Well, I'm inclined to agree with you. I mean, I incidentally did start off in the law, but I'm no lawyer these days. But it looks a bit flaky. It looks a bit flaky. And that assumes that Rishi Sunak can get the law through Parliament. So even that is questionable, because the Labour Party will clearly vote against it. And I think there'll be a lot of members of the Conservative Party who will also try and block it, because it's considered to be either inappropriate or unfeasible that this is going to clear the way for Rishi Sunak to do what he's promised to do. So, yes, legally, it's highly questionable. And I think most of us do not expect those flights to take off for Rwanda this side of a general election, as you've indicated. But right now, the focus is on whether there's a vote of confidence against Rishi Sunak and the possibility even of the government falling.
Fascinating stuff. Nicholas Nugent, many thanks for your insight there. I'm sure we'll be speaking to you in the coming days and weeks again. Many thanks.